Hey everybody, Jared of Second Life Design. Welcome back to Milling Monday. So you've got your first remote milling job coming up, and you're going through all the things in your mind that you're going to need to take with you. And if you're anything like me, the first few times we're very fearful of forgetting something. I've done a lot of remote work as a mechanic before, where you got to bring all the tools in the box that you can, and the one thing you need is the one thing you forgot. And so, trying to head that off, going into my first job, I made a checklist of all my pieces. And I want to share mine with you in the hopes that it can help. I think a lot of the appeal in an Alaskan mill to people is the ability to go wherever and mill on site. And I want that to be an enjoyable experience for you, so I'm going to share my experience, and hopefully that'll help you out. There's a lot of things to take. There's a lot of pieces with this, so I've kind of grouped them into assemblies. And so that's where, my list, I think I have 14 different items, but there are groupings of things together. So that'll make more sense when we get into them. But yeah, so I didn't make it, it just makes it a lot simpler for me. The big pieces kind of go together, and it all makes sense as we get into it. So first 5 items. The chainsaw, mill, the first cut system, all one thing. You got to have those. Those are the essentials. That isn't changing. Whatever you have for your first cut system, whether it's a ladder, the Granberg first cut system, great item. Highly recommend that. And the chainsaw and the mill. That's why we're going. You got to have all that stuff. That's a basic. Safety gear, the chaps, the headgear, and gloves. Wear chaps. You may think you look goofy, but they're going to save your legs if something comes apart. They're padded, so if you're on your knees, helps that out, a little more comfortable. Have big pockets on them to keep your wedges in. Just wear them. Get into a habit. You'll thank me when you do. The gloves, that's just going to be kind of a preference of yourself. If you prefer to wear gloves or not. With the headgear, I wear it. I like it. I like the screen. That helps for the big chunks. I've had a few issues or a few times where I'd prefer to wear a full respirator mask, like a full face shield and earmuffs, and that's more just kind of more region. It gets to be very windy, and dust blowing back in your face can be a problem. It gets in your eyes and your sinuses and all that. It's bad news, so something else to think about there. But wear some ear hearing protection, some earmuffs, something. Save that hearing. An extra loop of chain, got to have at least one, sometimes 2. Make sure they're all sharp before you go. Take the steps, sharpen all those, so you have 3 sharp loops ready to go. If you're charging somebody premium money, you better have a premium service to offer. So that goes without saying. As far as sharpening, I always bring some kind of a chain sharpener, whether it's a hand file. The portable electric Granberg setup that runs on a 12-volt battery is fantastic. It's really quick. You can sharpen a whole loop very quickly without having to break anything down. So I really like that one. And gas and oil. You got to have that. I always plan on taking at least twice what I think I'm going to use. I have a 661. It's a pretty thirsty saw, so I bring generally 3 to 4 gallons of gas and at least a gallon and a half of oil. That's just kind of a standard. I like having a lot more. I never want to run out. So first 5 items right there. Next 5 in a group would be so the scrunch, that's one of those things that you've probably seen it a million times but never knew what the name was. That is the screwdriver socket wrench combo that comes with chainsaws. That is at a minimum what I would take. That's going to fix everything on the saw as far as tension of the blade, and you might get lucky and it works on the mill as well. That's at least that. If you have a small ratchet set, wrenches, throw them in the truck. You won't be mad if you have them. So definitely take those. Extra bolts for the mill. This is something I've never had a problem with my Granberg mill. I've never broken any hardware with it. I had an off-brand mill before, and I had broken some bolts where it was just using regular hardware store stuff to hold the mill together, and the vibrations just killed them. They snapped the bolts off, and there's nothing worse than a whole day of milling getting stopped over a 5/16 bolt. So find out what common sizes you need. Grab a few extras. Grab a few extra nuts. And yeah, have those in your kit. That'll be money well spent. I've had that stop me before, and it's very aggravating. Pry bar, wedges, and hammer. That's my preference with things. I have a big long pry bar. I love it. Use it all the time for moving slabs and moving logs. Use it. The hammer and wedges, that's for lifting the slabs up so they aren't, the kerf isn't pinching the chainsaw bar. Pretty straightforward stuff. If you've done milling, you know it. Again, with the checklist, this is more something that I keep everything on my phone, so as I'm loading things on, I can check them off a list, and I've got it right there. So, last few items. So, a leaf blower, that's something I've been using in the last year or so for my own personal stuff, and this can also work for a small snow shovel. That seems kind of odd, but that works really well for scooping up the fine sawdust. So one of those things, keep the worksite clean, distribute that mass sawdust, or completely collect it and bring some garbage bags or whatever. And if they want to bag it, fine. If they want to scoop it, fine. Blow it away, that's fine too. Tape measure, I have one on my hip all the time. Have one in the truck, have an extra one in the truck. That's for measuring length, for checking out different logs. You want to have an extra one. Just have one in your truck at all times. Ratchet straps, that's kind of a MacGyver thing, I guess, where you want to have I always have a couple extras. They're handy in a lot of different ways. Obviously for tying things down. I've used it in a pinch where to pull a slab off the stack where it got it was stuck on there. It was really heavy. Had a ratchet strap around it, and I was able to pull it off of the truck. Just they can serve a lot of purposes. So just throw it in the truck. Have a couple in there. It's not going to hurt anything. The last thing that I have is more of a hygiene thing. It's a preference thing for myself. I wear full coveralls when I'm milling. I like to mill in a little bit cooler temperatures and wear full, like mechanic style coveralls that are the whole onesie pantsuit, whatever you want to think of. And it just keeps my street clothes a little bit cleaner. So if I have to go into a gas station after or into the client's house for something, whatever, it keeps you cleaner. You can take, you're doing all the milling, the dust is flying, it's all wet dust, it's sticking to you, and you have the coveralls on. At the end of the day, take those off, put them in a garbage bag, throw those in the bed of the truck, and you're done. You're clean. You can go into the gas station, get a drink, go meet somebody afterwards, whatever. Stay clean. It's going to be for a happier experience. So don't forget to take them out of the garbage bag. That gets to be pretty funky if you don't wash those pretty quickly. Voice of experience with that one. So this is my list, guys. Yours may vary. I went back and forth trying to, I wanted to make this like a PDF that you guys could download and use, but there's so many different options with this that I didn't want to do that. I want this to be a jumping off point for you. I have this stored on my phone. I'm all with an iPhone. You can use the little check boxes on there. As you're loading things up, just click them off a list. I've got everything kind of condensed down into a couple of milk crates now where I can pretty well just kind of grab stuff and go. But when I was starting, I felt a lot better going into it. So that's the whole idea behind it. I hope it helps. Any other questions or comments down below? If you have anything else for Milling Monday, just feel free, drop it down. You can always find me on Instagram at Secondlifedesign. I always say this, but I can't stress it enough. I appreciate all the support, guys. It's been a lot of fun doing this, and I'm getting some awesome feedback and great ideas, and we're building a network of chainsaw people out there. So let's keep everything going, keep the ideas coming at me, and we'll keep it going. So anything else, let me know. Thanks.